Hey boys, it's HarmNone. In today's video, we're going to be going over the top 10 electric vehicles in Grand Theft Auto Online. Now, I will just say, not every single one of these vehicles is electric. Almost every single one is. There's one that has an exhaust, but it's like a hybrid electric, so I included it in this list because all the other electric cars are kind of weak, so I figured this one was a better option to choose, and it is classified as an EV in GTA, so there you have it. If you guys enjoyed this video, a like is of course appreciated, if not dislike. Subscribe if you're new, and let's go ahead and get started. Starting off at number 10, we have the Coil Raiden, coming in at $1.4 million. The Coil Raiden, as you can probably tell, is based pretty heavily off of a Tesla Model S in real life. Now, the Coil Raiden is a pretty good car. It has fantastic acceleration, like you would probably expect an electric vehicle to have. However, the handling on this vehicle is really weird. I feel like Rockstar has done a lot of the electric cars very accurately, in the sense that at the bottom of the car they feel very heavy because that's where the batteries go in the car, of course, but at the top of the car they feel pretty light, and it almost feels like the car wants to roll over on you when you turn with the Coil Raiden and with some of the other electric cars we're going to go over. But for the most part, the Coil Raiden is pretty good. The acceleration is definitely its best feature. It is of course a 4-door as well. The handling is okay, it could be a lot better, I'm gonna be honest, but overall I feel like it is a pretty decent car. It's got some good customization. Overall, definitely deserving of being on the list, however just pretty high on the list. So anyways, let's go ahead and move on to number 9. At number 9 we have the Hijack Chameleon, coming in at $100,000, or free if you pre-ordered Grand Theft Auto 5. That's right, this was a pre-order vehicle that you got access to for free when the game initially released. I don't think you can actually get free access to it anymore, very sadly, but still, $100,000 is not a bad price to pay for this car. As far as I know, this is the only car in GTA that has a solar panel roof. There might be a few others, but this is definitely the most prominent one in my opinion. The Chameleon has pretty decent performance, the acceleration is good, the handling is by far probably its best feature, I would say, and the top speed is alright as well. Now, interestingly, this car does have exhausts, and also if you zoom in on the back of the car, it also says V12 hybrid. However, it makes absolutely no engine noise, which is very strange. So overall, I do classify the Chameleon as an electric vehicle because it doesn't make an engine sound. Overall, it's pretty decent, some good customization. Definitely check out the Chameleon if you never have before. Moving on to number 8, we have the Coil Voltic, coming in at $150,000. The Coil Voltic is another 2013 vehicle in Grand Theft Auto Online. It is very good. Like you would expect, the Coil Voltic has fantastic acceleration. However, this vehicle is rear-wheel drive as opposed to all-wheel drive like most of the electric cars in GTA. So I'd say from about 0 to 20 miles per hour, it's pretty average. However, from like 20 miles per hour up to like 100 miles per hour, the Voltic is very fast acceleration-wise. It accelerates harder than, I'd say, a lot of the newer cars in the game even. It's also got some good customization. You can get the topless version of it or the hardtop version of it as well. It's based off of the Tesla Roadster, the original one, not the newest one that's been announced by Elon that still hasn't been made. But yeah, it's based off the original. It kind of looks like a Lotus Elise at the same time, but I think it's mainly supposed to be based off of the original Tesla Roadster. Overall, the Coil Voltic is a very cool car. A fun fact about this car is it used to be faster than the Adder in a straight line if you were going reverse in the rain. I know that's a very odd fact, but that is true, so there you have it. Next up at number 7, this is the car I was talking about that's not quite electric, that does have an engine sound, but it is a hybrid of sorts, and it is of course the overflawed Immorgan, coming in at $2.2 million. The Immorgan has some great customization as well as some pretty fantastic performance. This thing doesn't do anything badly. It has good acceleration, great handling, and a pretty decent top speed as well, considering it's supposed to be somewhat of an electric vehicle. In the grand scheme of things, the top speed is actually pretty low, but as far as EVs go, not too bad. I think the Immorgan is a really weird, strange looking car, but I think that it somehow works, and the customization options that you can do to it kind of complement the car nicely. Overall, it's an interesting vehicle, definitely one to check out. It is a former top 10 fastest sports car in Grand Theft Auto Online as well, so that is another interesting fact about it. Next up, we have the Coil Cyclone, coming in at $1.9 million. Now, this is not the Coil Cyclone 2, this is the regular, original Coil Cyclone that is available on every single platform. The Coil Cyclone is a very good electric supercar, if not one of the best electric supercars in the entire game. Now, there's only a few, but we don't have to talk about that. It's got some good customization. Overall, I think it's a decent looking car. Could definitely be better, could definitely have more customization, but the performance of this thing is pretty much unrivaled when it comes to last gen. It accelerates super well, it handles very well for an electric supercar, and the top speed is also pretty decent. Overall, this vehicle is very fast, very good for getting around in free mode. It is all-wheel drive as well. Definitely one to look into if you guys are interested. Moving on to number 5, we have the Fister Neon coming in at $1,500,000. This is based on the Porsche Taycan Turbo or the Taycan Turbo S. Now there's about 40 different variants of the Taycan in real life that a lot of people don't seem to know about. The Fister Neon is based on one of the higher end versions of that car. This is all-wheel drive. It's also a 4-seater and it has a little bit of customization. Not as much as you would maybe hope for, but it still does have a decent amount overall. This thing kind of has similar handling to the Coil Raiden, except it is a little bit better. This car is also a little bit lower to the ground. The roof line is a little bit lower than the Coil Raiden, which definitely helps to keep the center of gravity a little bit lower on this vehicle, helping to increase its traction abilities and its handling abilities. Overall, the Fister Neon is definitely a fan favorite in GTA. It's one of the best 4-door electric cars in the entire game. Definitely one to look into if you guys are interested or if you're fans of the Porsche Taycan Turbo in real life. Next up at number 4, we have the Pegassi Tesseract coming in at $2.8 million. Full disclosure, I absolutely hate the Tesseract. It's like one of the worst electric cars in the entire game in my opinion. However, in comparison to all of the other vehicles that we've kind of gone over already, the Tesseract doesn't seem super bad. Performance wise, it is slightly better. It has great acceleration and very good top speed as well. Fun fact, it's also not affected by catch-up when you do races with it. Don't let this fool you into thinking you're actually going to win races because of this though, because the Tesseract just sucks in the corners. That is this thing's biggest downfall. It's really the reason that I don't even like it, is because the handling on this car completely sucks. Now, it could be worse, I will say, it definitely could be worse. However, the rear end of this car just has so much weight behind it that every time you go around a corner under acceleration, you are going to spin the tail end out on this vehicle. I know it's a very futuristic looking car, it's got some good customization, although not that much, but still, it is a pretty customizable car, a pretty good looking car, definitely futuristic, and the performance is okay except for the handling. But for $2.8 million, I do think this thing is really expensive, so you might want to wait till we get to the end of the list before you make any purchasing decisions. With that being said, let's move on to number 3. And at number 3, we have the Omni EGT coming in at $1.8 million. Now, you might have expected this thing to be a little bit higher on this list even, but I've put it at number 3 because I think that's a fair position for it to be in. Of course, this is a 4-door electric vehicle based on the Audi e-tron GT in real life. The best feature about the Omni EGT is that it has Imani tech, which means you can put the missile lock-on jam around this thing, or of course the remote control device as well. It can also drop oil slick proximity mines, so if people are chasing you, they will get spun out by those, and there's really nothing they can do about them other than try to dodge them. It does have very good acceleration. The handling on this car, I will say, is far better than the other 2 4-doors we've gone over on this list. However, the top speed on the EGT is pretty weak, topping out at about 111 miles per hour, which is very, very low. But it is an electric car, what can we really expect? Of course, it's going to be pretty slow. And finally, moving on to number 2, we have the Coil Cyclone 2 HSW coming in at $2,250,000 plus an additional $475,000 for the HSW upgrade. Now, the Coil Cyclone 2 is very good on its own. Then you put the HSW upgrade on it and it's fine. However, if you max out the acceleration on the Coil Cyclone 2, I find this car becomes very hard to drive. Now, there are some people who think that it's perfectly fine and it's all good. However, in my opinion, I don't love how it handles anymore. It has too much power to go through the corners because it starts to torque steer. The front wheels get so much power on this car that they'll just start spinning and you'll lose traction. And then obviously if your turning wheels don't have traction, you're not going to be turning very well. So the handling is a little bit iffy with this thing. My best advice is when you're going through a corner with the HSW version of the Cyclone 2, just maybe let off the accelerator a little bit at least, or just maybe tap it. That will definitely help you get through the corner. However, otherwise the performance of this thing is absolutely fantastic and pretty much unmatched. This is the highest top speed electric vehicle in the entire game, and it's also the best accelerating electric vehicle in the entire game. It's also got some good customization. I think it's a very good looking car. It is based off the Rimac Nevera, I do believe, and I think that Rockstar did a good job with this car overall. Definitely one to look into if you guys are interested. The Cyclone 2 HSW is a great car. It is a little on the expensive side, but somehow it's still less than the Tesseract. So if you have the ability to buy either, definitely choose the Coil Cyclone 2 over the Tesseract. However, at number 1, we do have a car that is going to save you some money. And of course, at number 1, we have the OCElot Virtue, coming in at the great price of free. In fact, you actually get paid to get the OCElot Virtue, because in order to unlock the OCElot Virtue, you need to complete the 5 last dose missions in addition to the first 6 dose missions. So you're going to have to complete 11 missions in total. However, at the end of it, you are going to get the OCElot Virtue, which otherwise would cost you, I believe, in excess of $3 million. Now, the OCElot Virtue has the best acceleration for an electric vehicle on last gen consoles and PC, and on the current gen consoles, it is second only to the Coil Cyclone 2 HSW. The OCElot Virtue is in a very unique position as well, because it has the same upgrades that the Obey Omni EGT has, where it has the missile lock-on jammer or the remote control device, as well as an armor upgrade and a proximity oil slick mine dropper. Couple that with the insane acceleration, and it seems pretty obvious why the OCElot Virtue is the best electric vehicle in all of Grand Theft Auto Online. Anyway guys, there you have it. That is it for the top 10 electric vehicles in Grand Theft Auto Online. As I said at the start of the video, if you enjoyed this, if you learned something, a like is of course appreciated. If not, dislike. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, and I will see you all in the next video. Till then, take care. Peace.